Hey YouTube, what's going on? You know when they say it rains, it pours? I think nothing applies more than that to Mr. B's situation at this point in time. This is like my fifth time recording this video, so let me get this out here real quick. So as far as everything's been going on, the latest development is that Mr. Beast and Amazon are now being sued in a class action lawsuit against them. And effectively, the participants of the Mr. Beast game show are the ones who are bringing this lawsuit against them, or class action. Now, a few things I want to point out is that, from what I understand, there appears to be 5 people that are driving this thing on behalf of everybody else. And effectively, what's happened over here is it turns out that the series that was first announced in March had over 1,000 participants with a chance to win $5 million in cash, from what I understand. So it was going to be the biggest show on earth, and now that everything has gone sideways, there's effectively a lawsuit from Los Angeles which has been filed as of this Monday, and it contains some really damning stuff against Mr. Beast to be put into a court document, I would say. Aside from unsafe working conditions and obviously the SA stuff that happened over there, things are going to be pretty rough for Mr. Beast, because you see, it's been done by 5, well, so far, as far as we know, 5 anonymous contestants, 2 of which are women, 3 of which are guys. And I would say that what's happened over here is everybody's figured out that stuff is going sideways really fast. And I think while there's blood in the water, the attorneys or lawyers have decided, you know what, whoever comes forward, let's speak to them, see what we can get, and then get this thing rolling. We'll throw a little rock from the top of the mountain, and by the time it reaches the bottom, it'll be an avalanche, we hope, and then it'll take it from there. Now, as far as all of the allegations going against Mr. Beast, it turns out that the claim against him is that the contestants were kept under surveillance. They were controlled when they slept, what they wore, and denied them privacy and access to the outside world. As far as the article goes to describe this is effectively the same description that you'd find for a prison: under surveillance, controlled when you get to sleep, what you get to wear, and you are denied privacy and access from the outside world. That's no different than a prison. So if this is in the documents, this is purposely worded like this, obviously to make it sound as bad as possible. And if this is really what happened, these guys are in a deep amount of trouble. Mr. Beast is basically as deep as the Titanic at the bottom of the ocean at this point in time, in trouble. Now, as far as it goes, people were obviously, at the article reads, they were undurfed and overtired. I don't know, undurfed, okay, if I'm saying that correctly. It claims with meals provided sporadically and sparsely. I think the whole thing over here was that Mr. Beast probably tried to cut corners wherever he could, as far as dodging taxes and cutting down costs of production wherever possible. So I think they obviously didn't cater properly for everybody, and then they obviously stretched it out as much as possible to make sure that there was enough food to last until the end, even though it wasn't enough to keep people satiated, or it wasn't enough for them to eat on time. Now, this is a 54-page document, by the way. That's not a small court document, and that's only the start of it. So they throw basically a 54-page size boulder from the top of the mountain. By the time this reaches the bottom, when it's an avalanche, it might be 1,000 pages for all we know. All sorts of things may be going on in between, and we'll have to take it from there. Now, as far as the allegations of an unsafe work environment goes, it turns out that the contestants were penned into small areas, dangerous sets, and insufficient background checks were conducted, allowing convicted criminals to participate. That's something obviously which should be disclosed to some people. If you have somebody who's been convicted of an offense, it's only proper that you inform the staff of it, so they can understand where they are, and for their own safety and well-being, they know exactly who this person is and how they should act or behave around them, or what to look out for behind them based on their past or history. I'm not saying that you should apply stigma to some people, because when you face it, at the end of the day, everybody's capable of coming back from something. Everybody's capable of reform. At least that's what I have learned from my own work environment. You see, in my real life day-to-day job, I see people go to prison from time to time, and when they go in, they are some of the worst people imaginable. But by the time they come out, prison really humbles them, and there's been instances where people have found God afterward, and they've just really turned their life around. They've gone from being these people who was selling drugs and stealing cars and stuff, to people who were effectively, well, dishing out soup in a soup kitchen, and saving stray dogs from starvation and stuff like that. I've seen this happen. People can come back, things change. But obviously, depending on what they were convicted for, that's different. And who knows where this can lead and what exactly was done. You see, if we know exactly, like to the letter, what was done, that will change everything. The lawsuit itself obviously needs to go into further detail down the line, but that's going to change because all of these allegations have to be substantiated at some point in time. So if they end up going to trial, obviously this will come out in the wash. And I suspect if this does go to trial, it's going to be a publicly broadcasted trial, which is going to destroy everything: YouTube, Mr. Beast, Amazon, everyone. So I suspect they're going to probably try and settle this quietly. Now, moving on to the whole misogyny stuff that's been alleged, this is where it gets a bit wild. So, effectively, the set was said to have fostered a culture of misogyny and sexism, creating a hostile work environment for women, which included sexual harassment. It was not only noticed but allowed, the document says, and apparently this was allowed because of marching orders from the top. I don't know if this was a situation where they tried to make the contestants feel uncomfortable and get the women to drop out early, maybe. Maybe they were doing this on purpose to do that. Alternatively, maybe this is the culture at Mr. Beast everywhere you go. You know, when people are on camera, they behave very differently from when they're off camera. We can all agree with that. For example, if I were to put my webcam on now, I just go shy and I wouldn't really have it in me to talk as confidently as I do. I don't know what it is. For some reason, I'm just like terrified of cameras. I avoid pictures, I avoid videos. I've always been that guy. When it came down to like the family picture, I'd be in the background, but I'd be like hiding away. I don't know what it is. For some reason, I'm like terrified about the way people see me. I think I'm just not really confident in my own appearance, I guess. The contestants' lawyers say that they should be compensated for their time, which they say was essential labor for the production, arguing they're not working for free and should have been classed as employees. Here's where things get a bit interesting as well. If they were classed as employees, Mr. Beast would have probably had to pay employee taxes. You'd also have to pay things like probably like medical aid. You'd probably have to sign them up for insurance or medical insurance, whatever it is, and other personal injury insurance as well, which Mr. Beast would obviously be liable for. And I suspect he obviously didn't do that. But at the same time, in line with like games like Family Feud, I don't know if game shows are classified as a working environment or whether they classified as a competition. So in a competition, I don't think you are taken as an actual employee. You're taken as a participant. It's not the same thing as an employee. For example, if you're running a race, you win the race, you get a prize money at the end with a gold medal. You're not really getting a wage, if that makes any sense. So yeah, it's interesting to see where that goes. So all the claimants are seeking thousands of dollars for everyone who took part or to cover unpaid wages. Interesting. What about the other 1,000 participants? I wonder how they are proceeding with this, because so far there's only 5 people bringing this thing, and we need to see where these other people go and end up with, how they end up. So 2 of those claimants are women, and they are also seeking further compensation for the allegations of a hostile workplace. Now, as far as hostile workplaces go, I've worked in many environments where it is generally hostile, and a lot of the times the hostility tends to come from the HR department. Usually those are run by like single ladies who got nothing to do with their life, and then they use this as some sort of a power trip to make everybody's life a living hell. I've seen situations where they'll find like the youngest female employee in the office, and then the other female employees will gang up on her and they will make her life a living hell. They will obviously give her unreasonable tasks, or they will just kind of continuously crap on her. I've seen that as well, but at the same time, I've also seen guys interfere with the younger females, and people tend to look the other way when things are obviously wrong and stuff like that. And I hope these ladies, if they did suffer this, that they're doing okay. At the same time, you got to keep in mind this is a lawsuit, so everything is going to be dialed to 11. So if an ant was stepped on, it's going to be looked at as if though a titan broke through the main wall or something like that. So whatever is said and done, guys, I don't know where this goes with the lawsuit. I suspect it's going to be settled. I highly doubt they're going to want to go to court, because something big like this, like the Johnny Depp trials level big, I would think this is probably bigger than that in my opinion, is probably going to be broadcast live to the world, and Amazon and Mr. Beast both don't want that. So I highly suspect that these guys are going to settle as quickly as possible, and whatever amount is being claimed, if they've got the money in the bag, they're going to be dishing that out very quickly. So with that being said, I'm out of this video. If you liked it, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a dislike. Please let me know your comments down below, and we'll just take it from there. All right. Thanks, guys. See you then.